However, when it snowed, the snowfall collected on the power cables until the weight was enough to collapse the cables, resulting in several power outages. Slowly but surely, tourists stopped coming, so the town held a meeting to discuss how to solve the problem of having snow collect on the power cables. Solutions were tossed out for quite some time. Then somebody shouted in a loud voice from the back of the room and said, "Let's hang pots of honey on the power cables to make the bears climb up. When the bears climb up and get the honey, their movement will shake the snow off the power cables." The audience laughed, and somebody else decided to play along and said, "How will we refill the pots of honey?" "We'll use a helicopter," another person said. Then the answer dawned upon them. By having a helicopter fly by the power lines, the wind from the propellers would shake the snow off. The main point here is that answers, no matter how ridiculous they may seem, should not be feared because more often than not, they lead to results. It's all part of the process. Even if an answer seems ludicrous, write it down. Write down all your answers. Do it until you have 20 answers and look them over. You will find that as you write down answers and look at them, it will in turn propel you to think of new creative answers that you would not have come up with before. You will be amazed at all the things you wrote and the different solid creative ideas that come about. Now the time comes for focus. I'm sure you've heard of the sun and magnifying glass analogy pertaining to focus, but I'm going to say it again. If you try to do a bunch of things at once, nothing will get done. If you wave a magnifying glass around on the hottest day, you won't burn anything. You'll dissipate all your energy among the trivial many. By focusing and harnessing all your power, energy, time, focus, thinking, etc. on one goal, you will be amazed at how deep and quickly you can accomplish that. Just as you study a magnifying glass on a single object with the hot, burning sun rays analogous to your desire, focus, power, energy, time, etc., you will make an impact. And I'm just going to say, Holly here, I'm just going to say that is certainly true because I currently have many projects on the go, and it is very hard for me to even focus on one because I'm thinking, well, if I focus on the album, then I'm not going to have time for my book. And if I focus on my book, I'm not going to have time for my knitting projects. And if I focus on my knitting projects, I'm not going to have time for the show, and on and on and on and on, right? But I find on those days where I decide, okay, today is going to be about Beacon. Today I'm going to record the album. Today I'm going to do some stuff. I'm going to produce some stuff and mix some stuff. And I give myself a few hours and I focus entirely on that. I get so much done. So much done. And I'm one step closer to finishing it completely. And although I do have lots of projects, and Monday morning I wake up and I feel like I want to write, so I'm going to write today. I'm going to focus on writing for a few hours. Tuesday morning I wake up and think I'm going to record. I'm going to focus on recording. Wednesday I want to research. So I'm going to focus on researching. I think that this can work on a day-to-day basis, but that's my life. It might not work for you. I'm a Pisces, so I like to have tons of stuff happening at once. But I know that there are other people out there who need to have one thing, just one thing happening in their life, and then they can focus all of their energy on that one thing. I've never been the kind of person to put all my eggs in one basket. I've always separated my eggs around the yard in a bunch of different, little baskets, right? So that's just me. If you're a creative person, that's probably what you go through too. But I'm here to tell you, there is a way out of that. There is a way to focus. Do it on a daily basis. When you wake up, if you're thinking, I want to work on project A today, give project A your full focus, your full attention, your full emotional investment. And if you're not the kind of person, if you're not that creative a person, and you aren't one of the eccentrics like I am, I highly recommend what he is saying, what Brian Kim is saying, to just do one project until it's finished, absolutely finished. So back to what Brian's saying. By focusing and harnessing all your power, energy, time, focus, thinking, etc. I already read that. Okay. The notion of focus is so important that I'm going to use another analogy. Imagine you're a cheetah and you see two juicy gazelles grazing in the grass. Spending your time chasing both equals no food equals death. Hunt one down. It might take time to catch it and kill it, but when you do, you'll be recharged. You will soon start collecting information on how the gazelles run, which direction they run, where they like to graze, etc., which will help you catch more gazelles in the future, thereby putting you in a favorable cycle. Case in point, focus on one. So look over your list you just made and choose one idea that seems the most appealing to you. You may find you can combine a few ideas into one idea. Nevertheless, choose one idea that you will garner the greatest satisfaction, not just for yourself, but to other people. You might want to zero in on the ideas that combine your skills and interests that you've listed in the beginning. The reason being, psychologically speaking, you've probably listed your greatest skills and interests first, and then as you started listing them downward, so did your degree of skill and interest. This might not be true. You might have 20 different but equal skills and interests, which if you do, I congratulate you. Just a tip I thought I'd throw out. How will you know you found what you love to do? Does it make you feel good? If you feel it in your gut that you've hit the jackpot, you're right. If your friend were to bring up the idea you picked, would you be all over it talking about it? You have to have no reservations about it. If you feel the slightest doubt that it is not your passion, then it's not. You must hunger to overcome any obstacles to pursue your passion. And then this is an update that he made less than a year later. A reader just posted this comment way below, and I wanted to include what she had to say in the article so you don't miss it. I think it ties in very well here and is also well written. Thank you, Bronwyn, for sharing your story with us and adding such great advice to the article. And she said, so when you look over your goals and one seems right, but if you're still finding excuses to not do what you have to do, that's not it. It might be a close relative, but it's not the one. Keep looking and you'll find the goal that makes you counter every objection with a solution. The one where you'd happily pay whatever it takes. Cash and years on the barrelhead right now. The path that makes you quiver with eagerness like a hunting dog on the point. The one over there you've been ignoring because you'll have to learn a different new skill like drawing or face big mistakes and big fears. And you didn't believe you could do those things, that's the one. Admit how much you really want to go down it. Tell yourself you really can do it, and then your passion will take over and you will not let anything keep you from it. And then Brian says, once you have that, your search is over. That right there is what you love to do. As for how to make money off of it, you might have already found ways when you wrote down your answers. If you still want to find more ways to make money doing what you love, just follow the same steps. Step 1, know you will find the answer. Step 2, write a clear question. Write down the answers and you will be amazed at the many ways you can make money from it. I'll leave the money-making question up to you, but it shouldn't be hard to do. Now that you know what you love to do and how to make money from it, you must act. That's a whole other story. Most people get to this stage but don't act, and it doesn't make any difference in their lives. Invest in yourself and make it happen. So, I know that's a long article, but there is a lot of great stuff in that article. So I really wanted to share that with you. Because the whole point is that you really can do anything. That's what's amazing about our lives. We are spirit beings having a human experience, and he made a really, really great point when he said, what is the area of a bookstore that you tend to gravitate towards? And you will see what some of your interests and possibly what some of your skills will be when you think about that, and I know myself, you've probably already figured this out. When I go into a bookstore, I head immediately for 2 sections, language, and the other one is New Age. So I go and I read about, Finnish and all that stuff, hauska tutustua, and pleased to meet you. And I read about, ghosts and spirits and astrology and non-mainstream religions and things of that nature. So I am always pulled in those 2 directions in a bookstore. But granted, those 2 directions, if you look, say, for example, the language direction, right? There are thousands and thousands of languages. I believe it's something like we have over 6,000 languages on the planet, and that is not including the dialects of different languages. So, going into that one area is going to give me a bevy of choices. And it all comes down to, I want to learn Polish today. So I'm going to buy some Polish or something, So it all comes down to that. And the same with the other section that I love, the New Age section. It covers ghosts and spirits and UFOs and extraterrestrials and ancient history and what else? Tarot and astrology and the I Ching and all of that stuff. There are so many subheadings that can go underneath that. So, Coldplay was right when they said we live in a beautiful world. Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. It is so true because it is ours for the taking. And I talked about it in the first episode, the reassessing, where I said that, if you put yourself, you can stop yourself at any point in your life and decide, okay, I'm going to be the decider now of my own life. I am going to decide what I do next. You can pick that anytime you want. That's what's incredible about it. And this is what Brian Kim is also saying to an extent when he's saying, shut out all distractions. Quiet your mind, quiet the area around you, quiet your environment. Go somewhere by yourself. And I, as a person who is a complete loner, it is much more rare for me to hang out with people than it is to be alone. I am, even though they have that saying, it's a joke, like 55% of people who make up statistics are just making up the number on the spot or whatever as a joke or whatever. But it's true. Like 85% of my time or 90% of my time is all by myself. It's all Holly time. Well, and Josie, my cat, it's all Holly time, so I have had the luxury, I have had the privilege over the years, and not just in the situation, the great situation that I'm in now with my relationship. I have always had the luxury and the privilege of looking within and spending time alone and spending time in quiet solitude and asking myself these questions. So in that sense, I've had years and years and years of asking myself these questions under my belt, but as everyone else, I am a work in progress. So certain days I lose sight of it. And that will happen. That's where we're at in our spiritual evolution. The monk wakes up every day and makes the same decisions. Those of us who aren't monks, who don't do that sort of practice every single day, we don't tend to make the same decisions every single day. Yesterday I woke up Monday I woke up and I was totally depressed and I didn't feel well. And yesterday I was really joyous and I was really crazy and I was like really into life and everything else. And today I'm really emotional, but in a positive way. And I'm a little more chill today, despite how excited I may sound sometimes on the show. I'm a lot more chill right now than I normally am. So it changes day to day to day because I haven't put myself in a hardcore spiritual practice. I'm not living up, in the Himalayas or whatever, and I do have distractions, even though I do try to focus my energy and I do try to quiet things around me sometimes. I do have distractions. I do have my favorite shows. I do have my favorite music. I do have my favorite books and my favorite websites. And that's okay. The whole point, though, to this show is to inspire you to get out of having all those things all the time. Even my partner, when we're sitting in silence, and that's kind of rare, when we're sitting in silence and there's no music and I'm not watching anything and he's not watching anything and we're just kind of sitting, he'll even say to me, "It's too quiet, put something on." And 9 times out of 10, I say to him, "No, embrace the silence. We need the silence." And I do realize that sometimes people don't want the silence because once there's the silence, there's just you. There's just you. There's just your brain. There's just your ideas. There's just, and the bigger part of it is, there's just your doubts and your fears and all of that negative stuff that has been put into our brains from the very beginning from people who don't want us to realize the power that is in us, And actually, talking about that, there's a really great quote that I saw the other day on one of my friends' Facebooks. And the quote is by Marianne Williamson. I don't know who that is. Maybe it's more than likely like a writer or something or a speaker. And the quote is, "Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure." And I think that is a really important thing for us to realize, that we really are powerful.